Well, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Really means a lot to have you on board. You're at the Five Forks. I'm your host, and my name is Barry. Here at the Five Forks, we discuss topics of interest for the newly retired, those about to retire, and some topics for those that might have been retired for some time. I hope that these things that we discuss will be informative and entertaining, and I hope you check in each week to see what's new. So come along for the ride. Let's get started. Here's today's episode. Hello, folks. Welcome back. It's great to have you here, and I really do appreciate you coming back each week to take a listen to what we have to talk about. It means the world to me, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you. It's amazing to me that there's people out there somewhere in the world listening to what I've got to say. So it's great to have you back, coming back each week. Today's episode is going to be on the short side, but I did want to take the opportunity to celebrate today. I'm going to celebrate a milestone for this podcast show. And I know, it's a small one, but it is a milestone just the same. This is episode number 10. And in the podcast world, a multitude of beginners quit long before they ever reach this point. There's a lot of literature out there on how-to articles about starting a podcast, and there's a little bit of different information about how to go about it. But in reading a lot of that stuff, I've learned that most beginners stop after 3 or 4 episodes. And the majority of beginners never, ever make it to number 10. So that's the reason today is a milestone for me. And thanks to you. You guys are listening, and I appreciate it. There's a company called Podcast Page. It's a podcast website builder and a podcast hosting platform. And in their podcast statistics and trends article, they state that there's between 3.2 and 4.3 million podcasts published. And that number is growing every year. The articles cited a couple of different sources. One says 3.2 and one says 4.3. And there's no clear explanation as to why there's that big of a difference between the two. But suffice it to say, there's millions of podcasts out there. There's a ton of competition for listeners. And there's about 80 million people that say they listen to podcasts on a weekly basis. So you could be listening to anything that you want to, any number of podcast shows that are out there, but you're listening to me. And so thank you. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. But that same article goes on to talk about all those podcasts that are out there. And however, there's millions of podcasts out there and available. 44% of them had less than 3 episodes, and only 720,000 have more than 10 episodes. Of those 720,000 that have 10 episodes or more, there's only about 156,000 of them that are actually releasing weekly episodes. Man, I'm now in rarefied air. How about that? There's a lot of reasons that podcasters quit or end up failing. First of all, it's a lot of work. You have to come up with a topic. You have to try to put your thoughts in some kind of a logical context that when you do the recording and you get the editing and all that, you try to hope that it's going to turn out to be something that follows a flow and everybody's going to want to listen to. And then you get it published. And, if I wasn't retired, I wouldn't have time to put all this together each week. It is a lot of work. But like I said, this is a hobby for me, and I've got some time, and I really enjoy learning. And each week when I get ready to talk about something, I go in and I do a little research on it. And so while it takes a little time, I just like talking. So it's really an enjoyable part of my week. And I'm not spending, I say it's a lot of work, but I'm really not spending more than, maybe 4 or 5 hours out of the total week on putting it together. So that's not too bad. There's really a lot of other reasons that podcasts fail or don't really make it. One of them is poor audio quality. Some podcasts you just can't hear everything that's being said. And I hope that mine is never that way. Now, I spent a little bit of money to get started. Number one, you have to have a good microphone. And so I did that. And I'm certainly not breaking the bank on equipment. And I have a MacBook. So GarageBand comes standard as the software that I do the recording on. So I didn't have to spend any money on that. And so far, I've been told by listeners that the audio quality is really pretty good. So I'm hoping it stays that way, and I hope you find that it is. Another reason that podcasts just fade away is infrequent or sporadic releases, and that causes listeners to lose interest, and they forget about you because there's so many out there that they can listen to. And if you're not putting out content every week, they're going to be gone. I've been trying to do one per week, and that's been positively received by you guys, the listeners, and I hope I can keep that up. Here for the next couple of weeks, I might move it into an every other week thing for a little bit of time because I've got some contract work that I'm doing, so we'll see how that goes. But as I move into summer and I'm traveling a little bit more, got some vacation stuff planned, so I might move it to a bi-weekly. I'll just see how it goes. But hey, this is a hobby. I can pack all my stuff up and take it with me. And really, a microphone and my laptop with GarageBand included, and I'm good to go. One of the biggest podcast failure reasons is just lack of marketing. And, how will someone know that you're out there if you don't tell them about it? And I try to use all the social media platforms to let listeners know when new episodes are available. And I've paid a nominal amount for some targeted advertising, but real growth takes place by word of mouth, and that takes a long time. Podcast longevity depends on its content and its audience engagement. So please keep coming back and let me know, that I'm talking about things that you want to continue to listen to. And depending on the subject matter, failure to stay up to date with industry trends, and if your podcast is tied to current events, you'll have to evolve and change. You got to keep new ideas coming up, and the critical thing is listen to the audience and adapt. Like I said, I want you to tell me, listeners, what you want to hear and subjects that you want to see me investigate, talk about. So send me a request. I'll be happy to talk about them. And I've had a lot of people ask me, what in the heck made you want to do this? And what makes you go to all the effort each week? Don't you think you'll just get swallowed up and go unnoticed with all the podcasts that are out there available on Apple or Spotify and all these major platforms? Well, maybe I might get swallowed up, but I'm on Apple. I'm on Spotify. I'm on iTunes Radio. I'm on YouTube. So I'm out there. You never know who's going to tune in and listen, and hopefully my audience will grow. That's the whole goal of this thing, is to see the audience grow and to keep this podcast alive. So it all depends on you guys. I certainly don't do it for the money. There's no money to be had in this until you grow to some significant following and have thousands of downloads each week. And, I never expect to be popular like somebody like Joe Rogan, who just had a major new contract deal with Spotify, or the Duck Dynasty guys, the Robertsons, who have a great podcast that I listen to all the time, and it's really popular, and it's called Unashamed. And, I just do this for fun. It's another little hobby of mine. It allows me some space for self-expression, and these first 9 episodes surrounding retirement issues, I think, have been a way for me to get through some of the worry and the concern that I've had about retirement. It's a way to talk through some issues that I've had on my mind. And if these things concern me, then I thought, well, there might be some other people out there that are thinking about the same issue and they might have concerns about these topics. And, I'll just put it out there and see what happens. But hopefully I could give a little information that might clear up some concern for someone, something that you might have had on your mind. Hopefully some of it will be entertaining. After all, this is a subject that I'm quickly becoming an expert in, that retirement business. Man, I'm living it day by day. And, you can't get a much better education than that. So today, I'm just wanting to have a short little podcast to celebrate. I made it to number 10. And, I hope that there's going to be additional milestones to celebrate down the road. And with your help and your feedback, I'll just keep talking. I might even say something that's important. So keep coming back, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so very much. Well, that does it for today. Thanks again for stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please leave me a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Like, subscribe, and follow so you'll know when a new episode is available. And share this with your friends. And if you like the content, you can always buy me a coffee. That link's www.buymeacoffee.com/@the5. Once again, you've been listening at the Five Forks. And until next time, when faced with a fork in the road, take it.